thank you for everyone who's dropping by. If you have a second, hit that sub button. It helps me as a creator. It helps way more than you guys know. Let's jump into this. As you know, I've had a creator code for a little bit, and my presentation up until this point was, how do I say it, awful. Recently that changed, and it changed thanks to a few things. I won't bore you guys with the details. I made this in After Effects CC 2014, and as long as you have that version or newer, which most people are going to have a way newer version, you're going to be able to use it. Now, first thing, you're going to have to go to the link in this video. Now, I can't just like auto make the link while I'm recording the video, unfortunately, but it'll be right here and it'll be in the description. So first you'll want to unzip it, and here we'll just go through the process really quick. So you'll come here, click download, it'll be here, and you click on this where it says download, right? So basically this is where I'm going to save it. Now this is actually where I already have the video, so that is what it is, but it should download fairly quick. It's a small file, so not too bad. So first you want to unzip this. So we can unzip this and we'll actually do everything from this folder today. So we're going to use the SAC template. Now the first thing you want to do after you unzip it is go into the fonts folder and install both of these. Now I have them installed, so it's going to be redundant if I reinstall them, so I'm not going to do that. But all you do is right click on them and click install, and that's pretty easy. And then the second thing we'll want to do is install Saber Installer. Now this is a free plugin from Video Copilot. It's great. It allows you to create Saber type effects, and they have a ton of settings in there that you can really get into and change it, but it just adds this nice little glow like this. I like this on top. Now obviously inside the settings you can go in and change it and move to the back and all of that, but for now this is what we're working with. Now I also included a sounds folder, which if you click on it there's nothing in it. Now the reason for that is I don't use the sounds in my videos. Whenever I have the support a creator code, the template, because I made this, but whenever I have this up on the screen, I'm usually talking, I'm talking about support a creator code or how it helps other creators, things like that. And I just find that balancing that, and if I have music audio, and then if I have a game clip that leads in from this segment, I find like balancing all of that and doing the fade ins, it's a lot of work. And sometimes I'm really crunched. Sometimes whenever I'm putting together a video, I have an hour literally to record everything, put it together, edit it in Resolve, render it, upload, and then I have to leave. So sometimes I just do not have that time to really fine tune the audio like we'd always like to be able to do. Once everything is installed, we're gonna go and run this. So just for this, I'm gonna go ahead and close that, and then I'm going to reopen it. And this should be in the folder, so everything, as long as it stays in the folder, everything should run just fine. Something to remember is everything is created in After Effects, minus the mouse cursor. Everything else is, if you wanted to, you could actually make the mouse cursor in After Effects too, and then it would be like truly 100% After Effects. Now when we open this, we see like we have a few things over here. The main mouse, which that is this file. And then we have our creator background comp, which is really named funny, as but that's how I named it. You guys can rename it. You probably want to rename it. I don't know. It's kind of weird. So this has, if we just click on it, this has our escape, close button, our accept, the background, that it has our blank bar, it has this font. And now all of this was hand created inside of After Effects, so you can see that just like I start hiding stuff. Now the big thing, the reason why this is big, is you can add any kind of effect if you really wanted to. If you wanted to go in and add some like 3D effects to this, you could do that inside this portion of the template. And then obviously the other part is where some of the other stuff is, but you could really add more in-depth effects, or if you wanted like a dissolve template effect to happen with the accept button, there's a lot of things that you could do with that. that you can't do with other templates. There are other templates out there for support a creator code, which is actually what inspired me to make this, because none of them were really what I wanted. A lot of them were behind, first, paywalls. Nothing wrong with that. Everybody's got to do their thing. But then the second thing is a lot of them were just screenshots or the textures from the in-game files for the support a creator code portion. Now, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's something that should be encouraged, something that should happen, but that is what it is. But we made this all in After Effects. So the creator background comp, the size of this is actually a little bit smaller, not by a lot, but you can see it up here. It's actually smaller than the main. And basically what this comes down to is I just wanted a comp that was for the support a creator, and then the main we had to actually make bigger for the lighting effects that you can see here. Like, you can kind of see like how there's a little boxiness here, but that actually goes away once you line it over footage. But before I had changed like the sizing for the main comp, there was a hard box. Like, you could see like a hard edge around everything, and it was just due to how I had done the Saber plugin, changing that a little bit, and then changing the bounding box area, which was, you know, the main size, which is this. It's still there a little bit, but that's just how the effect is. But it was really, really noticeable. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, I have it in my actual first video where I used this, and that's why I waited to do this video, because I wanted to fix that, make some minor adjustments, clean up the files a little bit. But that's where we're at. Is our main comp. We can change our creator code. So if I fast forward this a little bit, should have the full code up. So that's my creator code, BSQ812 hashtag add. You know, this right here can be changed. So if we go into creator code replace me, we have our mask and our text. So you can change the text. You can make that whatever you want, change it, and then the only thing that you have to do is see where these keys are for our code mask reveal. That is what pulls back as that moves across. The only thing you would have to do is say, like, if it's more than 6 letters or whatever, or if you want this to be slower, you would just change the timing on this second node. So you could like click, drag, move it to wherever you want it. Or, you know, you may not like the shape of it, so you may change some of the shape on the path, but you can do that, and it's keyed. You could change the opacity, so maybe after it gets to the end, after a little bit, you want to like invert it, make it where it just completely disappears and it does like a reverse wipe. You can do that. Now, so something else with this, we're actually keeping this part in the template. So when you download it, this is exactly what you're going to get. Other template videos out there that, you know, have 100,000 views, those creators actually ended up taking this part out because they were more so doing a whole video on how to make this. I'm not doing that. I am just basically providing everybody with a template that I want you to use, and the reason is because it adds quality to your video. Yeah, is it a little difficult to make? Yes, but most of us content creators, we really don't want to have a whole background in GFX graphics design, because that's not what we do. We create content. So most of us are editors, you know, we're doing things like that. And when you have a core template that you can go in and change, I feel like that opens a lot more possibilities up versus having a very static template where you're only creating one or two of the things. Because like in this, you can go in and change all the colors, you know, for the Saber plugins. You can change it for backgrounds. You can change this text here. You know, you make something funny. You can change this up for the holidays. You can do a lot of things with this. Now, under creator code replace me, you know, we already have the mask. We've talked about that. But right above it, we have cursor blink. Now, what this is, that is our actual cursor. So like text layer I created, but that's what it is. It's our little cursor that blinks. And basically, I would play this back, but my computer's a little slow. But see how it like blinks and it goes across? That is basically what the cursor blink is. And you can see here that we just keyed our opacity. So say you think, okay, it blinks too fast, or it's too slow, or it's too much right here. You can literally just go in and key this, because all it really is, I think we have the opacity off here, but it's just a rectangle. Honestly, it's like a filled rectangle, and that's really all it is. but we have that keyed to move across. And that's the other thing. If you wanted to change what that shape is, technically you could do that. You could go in here, change the shape. You know, this is the rectangle path down here. So this is what's keyed to go across, is right here, this section. So if you wanted to, you could come in, you could change your shape. You could either add a custom shape, or you can make something in Photoshop, drag it in here, and just basically like replace the values with it, or just key it up yourself. And you can make something really interesting here. Now, obviously, if you change your name, you may just want to have to change where this ends at, along with the opacity, those kind of things. Okay, so personally, for me, here, I'm going to change this. I did that by hitting V. This is what I actually have my cursor to look like. Now, for me, I wanted the lights above. One of the examples that I seen that actually used the Saber plugin actually had it behind, and they had it changed so like you had this glow cast effect behind it, and you know, it looks cool. But for me, I just like the flames. I have a dragon for my logo, so this feels a little bit more like my brand, and that's what I highly recommend, is that whoever gets this, uses it, you customize this to your brand versus just like a blank template that you got and plug and play. Now you can do that, but I highly recommend customizing this, making your brand stand out. So say if you do want these behind, you can just simply move the comp, you know. Now obviously a couple of things, you know, the flame's a little bit less, and so some of your styles that you pick may not really stand out being back here, but you can get that glow effect. You know, you can add them, you know, you can just basically duplicate them and change the keys and their starting and end points, you know, if you want it vertically as well. I didn't add those in because, you know, I just think that'd be a little too much for me, but everybody else, you know, you can do what you want, and that's why we're making this. So the colors, like I said, you know, you can change everything. So you can go into the colors. So like say we want to go into the top saber, which, you know, you just click the shape, go into here, double click on it, and it'll pop up here. Now newer versions may be a little different place, but you know, that's what it is. So right now we're on this. I'm just gonna copy it just because I'm gonna, but in real time you can change it. So like say I'm just gonna say, you know, because I know some people that have pink, a little fiery. As you change this, you can see how it affects, you know, certain things. You know, you can play with it, change the colors. And then not only that, but I have this set on velocity. Look, these are all presets that are already there. Now I changed some of the numbers on mine. So like you can go to fusion, and then I'd have to re-render. But see, look, that's a total different flame than what's down here. This has a little bit more arc on it. It kind of gives me, not really Godzilla, but it just has different vibes to it. But I'm going to keep it on what I have because that's what I like. But there's all these settings that you can change. And then, you know, basically you don't have to go up here. You can change it here. I like changing it from up here because it makes a little bit more sense for me. You can key the color. So like I said, for holidays, you could literally key this, like, so for Christmas, you know, the red and green, you can key it for Halloween. Now, for me, this is where I stopped. So here is where I stopped. And the reason is that I didn't really want to add too much more. Now, what you can do is if you come in with the mouse and you're like, okay, I like the path this takes, but I don't like the hand. It's really not me. It's not my brand. I want to use a face. I want to do this or this. Well, what you can do is you can literally come up here, right click, and just replace footage, and then you go to your file and say you have like a different logo that you want to use, or you know, something else that you want to put there. You can do that and it'll stay keyed if you like the path. And if you don't like the path or anything there, you can just literally delete it, or just go ahead, replace it, and then change the keyframes if you like the timing or whatever. So for me personally, at this point, I don't have a check mark here, or there's like a little like confirm loading thing. Now some YouTubers have that, and those graphic designers put that in. I didn't put it in because it's such a minute detail that for me, I don't need it, I don't want it. And a lot of the people that have it also use the sounds with it, like the little click, the check mark, the confirm. I just don't do that all the time. So for me, I don't need it. Now, if you want it, literally what I would suggest doing is adding that at this point on the layer up here, so like inside the main comp, because if you try to add that in the creator background comp, what happens, especially if you're creating those files inside of After Effects, is you'd have to work on your timing for when that would actually be displayed compared to your mouse click. So it's easier to key that from this level instead of inside the creator background comp. So that's what I would say, is just if you want to make like a little loading, a check mark that appears here once this is clicked, you put that here. Now also there's little minor things you can do with the mouse that I really didn't do, like the cursor. So like once it like is here, I just have a little yellow that's like a little bit harder to see, but it's there, that shows up once the mouse like clicks. And what you could do is you could like slightly change the size of the mouse whenever it's clicked, and then unclicked position, you know, like little things like that. You could add a little bit of shake on it. But I just wanted a general template that everybody could download, use, be able to customize, and really fine tune it for themselves. Personally, this is where I stop, and I always, after I'm done, of course I don't do this every time now, because once I rendered it out once, I'm never going to do this again until I want to change the code, change the lighting, you know, that kind of thing. So I go over here to the render queue and I render this out as a PNG sequence. Now my reasoning is PNG sequence allows me to render this out with a blank background like this, like basically what you see on the website, because I use this in DaVinci Resolve. Now DaVinci Resolve will read about 3 or 4 video formats that have an alpha channel. So the alpha channel is this area, but the problem with that is a lot of alpha channel videos are larger in size, whereas this is smaller. I think all the files for this just ended up being under a gig, like for the rendering part, whereas if I do a video file with an alpha channel and all of that, even a simple animation like this could easily be like 3 to 10 gigs. I don't want that floating around on my hard drive. I don't have time for it. And then it just creates extra work inside of DaVinci Resolve, and I don't want that. So basically you can do whatever you want. If you want to render this out with an alpha channel on video, you can do that. But for me, I don't do that. But I really suggest just do what works for you. I hope this helps other creators, and if it helped you, dropping a like, a sub, or even sharing this on Twitter helps a tremendous amount. Thank you so much.